everybody, and welcome to The Spice. I'm Blake.
And I'm Angel. And if this is your first time tuning in, The Spice is a variety show where we discuss topics ranging from sex to relationships and dating and any little thing in between.
So if you have any questions that you'd like answered, you can email them to thespicepodcastofficial@gmail.com.
Yes, absolutely. Today's episode is titled, How Do I Initiate Sex? So we're going to jump right in, and I will read the submission that we received from a very courageous listener, and then we can just kind of discuss it.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay. So this person writes in, Hey guys, what are some things that I can do to be more sexually forward, or some things that guys generally like to happen to initiate intimacy/sex? I want to feel more confident in initiating to show my boyfriend how much I love him and how attracted to him I am, and feel confident about doing that, but I don't know how to get things started. I, 23 female, have been with my boyfriend, 24 male, for a year or so, and we're very happy together, but our sex life has struggled at times due to us both having bad experiences in the past and a lot of nerves, mainly on my part. I want to be more sexually forward, but I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. If I get the idea to make a move, it's like my nerves take over and I don't feel like I can. We do have very open communication and I trust him completely, but my anxiety, self-image, and fear of inexperience get the best of me, and I end up bailing out and not bothering with it at all. Then I get super frustrated at myself and the cycle starts again. Thank you for any help and tips. For people like me, your openness really is so helpful and very much appreciated. From Anonymous.
I want you to lock in like a mountain lion on its prey, and there is nothing else that you see, and that's your sole mission in that present moment. And he'll feel like the most fucking important person in the world in that moment.
Nice. The truth is that I could rattle off 10 different ways that you could try to initiate sex with your partner, but I can't tell you what your partner would like. Only your partner can tell you what they would like. Blake can't tell you what your partner would like.
Right.
Only your partner can tell you what your partner would like. Sit down with your partner and exactly what you sent me, tell that to your partner.
Yeah.
Tell him about how you do love him and you are attracted to him, but that you're not sure how to initiate, and that you would like feedback from him on what he would like to see you do. What gets him in the mood that you can do when you want to show him that you're in the mood. And then expressing to him about the fact that you do get really nervous. You said here your nerves take over and then you don't feel like you can make a move. And then when you don't make a move, you feel frustrated with yourself and the cycle starts again. So sharing those feelings with your partner, getting support from him, and I'm sure that he could probably even relate to that as well, because it sounds like you both are kind of similar in this regard.
Yeah.
You could try a bunch of different things. You could try being completely naked when he gets home from work, or, jumping, sitting on his lap and starting to make out with him when he's sitting on the couch. Like, there's a million different things that you can try, but ultimately, if it's not something that he's receptive to or that he enjoys, then it's not going to land well. So going to your partner and actually getting the ideas from your partner is what's going to be probably the best in this situation.
Yeah.
And then also recognizing, I think, that when we're scared or nervous to initiate something with our partner, it's probably because we are scared of being rejected.
Yeah.
And just knowing that, or even having a conversation beforehand about, hey, if I say no, that I'm not in the mood, that doesn't mean that I'm not attracted to you. It doesn't mean that I don't love you. It just means I'm not in the mood in that moment.
Yeah,
and I don't want you to not initiate because you're scared of me saying no. Like, you and your partner having that conversation, right?
Yeah.
And then kind of like the last thing that I would probably say is something that the owner at the pole studio that I teach at has said before we have our performances. She always tells us that nervousness and excitement are actually like a very similar emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're getting nervous to initiate something, you can actually tell yourself that you're just excited to do it, and you can just kind of gaslight yourself into thinking that you're not nervous, you're just really, really excited and you can't wait to do it. And then that could maybe possibly help you kind of push through that barrier, I guess, that's in place.
Yeah.
This is we really appreciate this person for writing in, because this is an issue that I feel like so many couples have.
Definitely.
Especially.
Yeah.
Especially, like she said, they've been together for over a year. And I feel like that's kind of when these things kind of start to come out. Once, we've talked about it before, but once those like love, drugs, and the initial state of a relationship kind of comes back into like your regular state of existence.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a really common issue that a lot of people are struggling with. And, I give so many tips and tricks on my page, but the truth is, no matter what I tell you, it may or may not land with your partner. It may or may not work with you and your partner, and that's okay. So that would be me. That'd be what I would say, is talk to your partner, and give them the floor to also share theirs with you. And I think that, opening up about that is going to help you guys. You can brainstorm, you could talk about things that you like, and, even maybe just talking about it will get you guys like excited and super giddy to like try new things with each other. And I think that's where I would start.
Or just act like a wild animal in heat. It works for every other animal. It's got to work for us
just
too.
Scoot your butt up and rub it in his face.
Honestly though, just throw it around in front of him. Just really, I'm sure he'll find himself
intrigued. You've piqued my intrigue. Yes. And also she did state, but she has anxiety, self-image, and fear of inexperience, or self-image issues. So again, we said this on the last podcast episode, but it cannot be said enough that taking care of yourself is super, super important, especially in this world where it's like men and women, we're all told that we're not enough in one way or another. Like, we're not big enough, we're not small enough, we're not hairy enough, we're not hairless enough, we're not, like, whatever it may be. And perhaps a day where you're really struggling with self-image issues, maybe that's just not a day for you, and it's okay to not initiate one day because you feel like garbage or whatever, and just let yourself feel that, let it pass. And then when you're feeling really great about yourself, then maybe that's the time to go for it.
Totally. Find your pattern, figure out your, learn about yourself, and try twice as hard when you're feeling great. Don't try so hard if you're not. Save that energy. Yeah,
that's true. And I feel like you can tell your partner if you want specifics too, because I feel like a lot of guys, you did this too actually, where like their girlfriends will come to them and say, okay, how would you like me to show my interest? Like, what would you like me to do? And then guys are just like, I don't know, babe, I like when I like when you're confident. And it's hard to know what to do with that, because confidence can be displayed in a million different ways. And it's like, it's okay to ask for something a little more targeted than that.
Tell your partner that you want him to be brutally honest and there's no judgment. You desperately want to know, his deepest desires and how you can fulfill them, right? And maybe he'll tell you some crazy shit. And you'll be like, okay, I could get with that. And then all of a sudden you guys, one of you is walking the other one on a leash, and you love it.
I do agree with that. And I think that people should be talking about sex probably a lot more than they actually are. I feel like things are just expected to just kind of fall into place, and then everything should just work out perfectly, and you should never have to talk about what you want and what you like. And I don't that's just not, it's just not realistic. I think that it should be fairly regularly that you're talking about things that you like, whether it's stuff that you've tried or not tried, or even just reminiscing about things that you've done together and saying, oh, I'm really thinking about that one time that we, I don't know. So anyway, I think that is pretty much all that we really need to say about the topic. Talk to your partner, you guys. If you talk to your partner and they can't tell you what they like, let me know, and I'll send you 101 ways to initiate sex, and you can just try out all the different weird, obscure ways to
Just go
initiate
down-
sex with your partner.
Go down the checklist.
I could write like a little mini book on
365 ways to initiate sex.
One
do it
for every day of the year.
single day.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I should totally do that.
It's a challenge.
365 ways to initiate sex, one for every day of the year.
Yeah.
I should write that book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you guys, if you want me to write this book, let me know because I've already have ideas brewing. All right, let's move on.
Okay.
So, going into the next question. Hello. To start off, love the podcast and love all of your videos. My wife and I have been together for 5 years and we have 2 kids, a 3-year-old and a 4-month-old. We both work full-time. She is a nurse with an inconsistent schedule and I work a regular 9 to 5. Recently, we've slipped into a slump and we feel more like roommates at times rather than husband and wife. Part of it is we haven't had sex near as often. The other part is just losing the intimate connection at times. Any advice to help get out of this slump? Thank you in advance, Anonymous. So the roommate phase, this is like a real thing that happens. I don't think that it's an inevitable thing, but it is a real thing that happens to a lot of people when we're in long-term relationships. You're just living life like you both pay half the rent and you're living in the same space.
Right.
It's a really common issue. So to this person who wrote in, first and foremost, you're not alone. Like, this is something that happens to most, I feel like, couples that are together long term. Like, a lot of people will say, you need to go on a date every week, like 1 date a week.
The weeks fly by.
Who has, like, especially when you have kids, like, who has the energy and the time and the money to be out on a date every week? I don't think that it's completely necessary to do every week, but every month, I think, is doable.
Yeah.
And I feel like most people could handle 1 day a month. This should be activities. Like, I don't think just dinner and a movie.
Right.
Because like, you could watch a movie at home.
Yeah.
I don't know. And even dinner, sometimes sitting across from each other can be kind of like stressful if you haven't connected in a while.
Yeah.
So
Right.
having an activity like going out to a bar, having a drink and eating some junk food and playing pool and darts and shuffleboard, whatever they have,
Totally.
giant Jenga, I don't know, going to a Latin dance class or axe throwing.
Mini
We've done
golf.
axe throwing,
Yes, axe
mini
throwing.
golf, axe throwing.
Yeah.
There's a game that we have, I can't remember the name of it. It's the and is like the name of the card company,
Right.
but it's a deck of cards and it's called relationship questions. It's like couples based relationship questions, and you just each take a stack and you pull a card and you ask each other questions, and you can pass an hour like that, and then you're actually getting to know the other person.
Yeah,
again.
it does. It forces you to dig a little deeper.
Yeah.
And you don't have to come up with it. It's a prompt. It's great.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah. You can light up a blunt, you can
Take some
pour a bottle of
mushrooms.
wine, but you can do things to kind of ease the tension. But anyway, all that to say that when you do this date once a month, if you're committing to once a month, we're going to do a date, have it be an activity that you guys can kind of flirt and have fun and be goofy. And it doesn't have to be just like sitting across from each other in a cold restaurant and then going and staring at a screen together. Also, I think something that is just so important is having a sense of playfulness throughout the day.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be really hard to connect on a date if you're not connecting at all during regular life. Like, I know that you guys have 2 kids, which is just so, it can just be so stressful and you feel like you're just surviving. This is what people mean when they say love is hard work, because it doesn't just come naturally. It doesn't just fall into place. Like, love is a commitment that you make every single day, and you make efforts to continue to cultivate that love. And some days you're not going to feel like you're happy about having to be in the same room as your partner. But you still need to make the commitment and take the steps to make your partner feel loved. So I'm just going to throw out some examples.
Okay.
Like, every day before you leave for work, babe, I'm still asleep in bed, and you come over and you give me a kiss. Even if I'm asleep, even if I'm half asleep, and you always kiss me goodbye before you leave. And you take that moment to connect with me. It's not just a quick like, okay, bye.
Right.
Like you take that moment, like you'll touch my face or something and you give me like a loving kiss and then you tell me that you love me and you leave. And it sounds dumb. Like, of course I kiss my wife before I leave, but do you? Like, do you actually take a moment to look in her eyes and be like in that moment and in that kiss? It sounds so silly saying it out loud, but it's really true. The
Yeah.
way that you do these things and these habits, is it just a quick peck, or are you touching the side of her face and telling her you love her, kissing her forehead and then her cheek and then her lips, or like,
Yeah, is it just like an autopilot thing? I think a lot of people just say love you without, they just always say it at the end of a phone call or when they leave or whatever.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's a lot of times where we end a conversation on the phone, we don't say I love you because we're going to see each other in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And, to me, it's because, it would feel too automated if it was just a perfectly timed thing at the end of every phone call.
Yeah.
Same with
love you, bye.
If you're leaving for work. So it's funny that you brought that up, because just a couple days ago when I was going to work, I had come in to say something. I think you told me that you could take Emmett to school that morning, and it was only like 5 minutes before I had to go. So then I went back out, I like made a smoothie, and then I was gonna just leave because I had just talked to you.
Yeah.
And I had my shoes on and everything, and I was like, well, I didn't do my connection with Angel. So I took my shoes off, I walked back there, and I made sure to do that connection, because to me it was a connection. It wasn't just like like letting her know that I'm leaving. It was like it was a little bit more special than that. So definitely, I think that's a great point, babe, is making those moments to connect and be really intentional about it. Maybe you need to think about what life would be like without your partner and how shitty it would probably be, so that, you really feel grateful. I mean, every single day I'm like grateful. I think about how grateful I am for where we are and what we've been through and accomplished and what we have. So I'm grateful to have you.
I just want to say this because I don't want it to go unsaid.
Okay.
I'm really grateful that you make that effort every morning, and I just want you to know that I notice it. And I love that you come in and say goodbye to me and give me a kiss every day before you leave.
Even when you're dead asleep, I come in, you're like, what? I'm like, I'm leaving.
I feel it though. Like, I feel love from you when you do that. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Cool.
I don't think I've ever told you that before.
Yeah, so. No, we haven't really talked about it.
Yeah. So being intentional and making sure that you're making efforts to be playful with your partner. Are you hugging and dancing and playing? And I think that it's also like these are really important things for your kids to see. You have young children, and you say that you guys aren't having sex as often, but that could also be because you guys aren't connecting in other ways as often. So just like in the last episode, we talked about all the different types of intimacy and how you kind of have to be meeting in almost all of these areas of intimacy, not just in sexual intimacy. So, making sure that you're being playful with your partner, going out on dates and doing activities together, or maybe not even going out. You could go in the backyard and have a picnic and play a card game, but connecting with your partner in ways other than just sexually. And what Blake said, like, gratitude is a huge, huge thing. This person that wrote in is the husband, and I'm not saying that this husband did anything wrong, but something that a lot of husbands fall into is not really recognizing everything that the mothers of their children are doing, and I think that a lot of people just don't realize how thanking and being grateful and showing that gratitude to your partner lifts them up and lifts their spirits and makes them more open to these things. And I'm not saying, again, that this person isn't doing those. It's just kind of what's coming out right now.
Thanking is so big. Literally, like, to me, it is never just expected that you do the dishes or expected that you wipe the counters down, clean the floor, whatever. I am literally always so grateful when you contribute to the house and the shared space.
Yeah.
And I thank you. And you thank me for, the contributing to our space. It could be, mowing the lawn, or
the manly things. I don't want to mow the lawn, so
putting the security cameras up or juicy.
Everything that you do, I am really grateful for. But we vocalize that to each other. So you can't just assume that your partner knows that you love them. You can't just assume that your partner knows that you're grateful for them. Right. You can't just assume that your partner knows that you're attracted to them. These are things that that as we get further into a relationship, we forget to remind our partners of all these things. Just like a lot of men will say, well, I'm not a mind reader. You have to tell me what's wrong. Mm-hmm. Well, also, we're not a mind reader. You have to tell us that you think we're attractive. You have to tell us that you're grateful for the things we do. You have to show us all of these things. And so it kind of goes both ways. But there's so much advice that could be put in this area. But so far, we have going on an activity-driven date once a month. If you can make that happen, make it happen. Mm-hmm. And connecting in ways other than just sexually. Yeah. Tickling, laughing, playing, kissing, and
intellectual with the game, with the questions.
Yeah. Expressing gratitude, expressing love, and being very intentional about moments of connection. Don't just give a peck on the cheek and leave the house because you're in a rush. Yeah. Take the extra 15 seconds to grab your partner's face, look into their eyes, and give them a little bit of a longer kiss. It doesn't have to be with tongue. You don't have to make out, but put that effort in. Both of you, and you will feel the difference. Yeah. Have you seen those videos, babe, on TikTok it'll show side by side, and it'll be a husband coming home from work and the wife sitting on it'll be side by side, and on one screen the husband's walking in and the wife is sitting on the couch and just nods at him, but on the other screen she gets up and comes to him and gives him a long embrace, a 5-second embrace, and then releases him. And
I love when you do that when I get home from work.
I love doing that for you. Oh my gosh, it's the best feeling.
Yeah, you take the bag out of my hand and then you give me a big hug, and I just feel welcomed into my home.
I try to be intentional about doing it anytime that you come home and I'm already here, about welcoming you that way, because and I think it makes us both feel connected, and it's just a great way to come back together after being apart.
Totally. Yeah.
But all that to say that in those TikTok videos, it's outlining that the effort that we put in matters. Yeah. Sitting on the couch and going, hey, welcome home. Yeah, great. That's easy. You know what makes someone feel really loved? When you stop what you're doing, you set your stuff aside, and you take 5 seconds to welcome them. Yeah. And that could go for either of you. Yeah. So
don't just, hey, babe.
Yeah.
Hi, babe. How are you? Or, how was your day?
And we're not all perfect. Sometimes we're going to do that. Yeah. Sometimes you do that. Sometimes I do that.
Try and do it more often than not.
Try and be intentional more often than not.
Try and be intentional more often than not.
Yes. I feel like that was a pretty good answer to this person who wrote in. If you have any other questions, respond to us again, and we'll answer back.
Yep.
All right. Do we want to move on and read one more thing?
Reddit post?
Yes.
Reddit post.
Yes. Okay. So
Reddit post.
We're going to read from a Reddit thread and just kind of react to it together and just kind of talk about it. I just like to do it. It's a fun little way, less tension. It's a fun way to kind of end the episode. So this post is titled, Buddy Put Me in a Weird Situation. What would you do?
All right.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. This person says, my buddy told his wife that he went on a golf trip with me last weekend. His wife and my wife hardly know each other, but his wife hit up my wife and asked if I was on the golf trip. I was not. His wife told my wife not to tell me that she asked, but of course, the first thing my wife did was tell me because we talk.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I should say something to him or just leave it alone. I know he's in the wrong, but he used to be a really important friend to me, and part of me wants to give him a heads up that he's busted. What would you do?
I don't know. Would I say, hey man, just so you know, what the fuck? Why you didn't give me a warning that you were gonna be
Using you as an alibi?
Using me as an alibi? Because what the fuck were you doing that you couldn't share with your wife?
I would rip them a new one. That's what I would do. I'd rip them a new one. I'd be like, what are you thinking? What are you doing? Don't ever keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. You don't get to use me as an alibi, and shame on you.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I would not want to be used as an alibi.
Yeah.
You know, whether I knew or didn't know, I don't want to be like covering for you for whatever you're doing that you can't share with your wife. I don't want any part in that. You need to be talking to your wife.
Yeah. Yeah. I and also I feel like, to be honest, if it was like one of my best friends, I'd also be curious as to why they needed an alibi in the first place. Are you cheating?
Yeah.
And if you are cheating, why are you cheating? Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, brother.
Ooh.
Yeah, that sucks. That's just a really shitty position to be put in. Like, I'm not gonna lie for anyone, so sorry.
Didn't even tell you. So
I know.
Like, not only is he lying to his wife, he's lying to you.
Yeah.
Fuck this guy.
Like,
what the fuck?
He's lying to everyone. He's probably lying to himself too. I don't know, but yeah. What would you do? That's it. That's what we would do.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
Well, I think that's pretty much it for today. We did our 2 submissions and our Reddit reaction. For those of you who made it through the whole episode, thank you.
We appreciate
and
you.
Good job. Gold star.
I know it was an endurance race.
Listen, we're in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And stay tuned, because next week we also have some really interesting things coming into play. And we appreciate you all for being here.
Absolutely.
Yes. So that's it for today. Thank you so much, and stay spicy, you guys.
See you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.